Welcome to Junk Monkey Live. This is our new night, Monday nights. And we're actually starting a little bit late tonight. I got a little busy, a little sidetracked today, so we got started a little late. Anyway, this is Junk Monkey Live. This is a place where resellers, thrifters, and treasure hunters get together to hang out, talk shop, what's new, what's old. And I did it again. I could have swore I had that muted. One of these days, I'll figure out how to keep that from happening. Hey, Christopher, how are you? Tina, I saw you come in a little earlier. I'm sure you're working. How's everybody's sales? Mine have been kind of rough, but we'll get into that here shortly. If it's your first time joining the show, we talk about reselling things on places like eBay and Poshmark, Facebook Marketplace, Macari, all those places. My sales haven't been horrible. However, last week I had four returns. One of them is a VCR. I screwed around and sent it out USPS instead of UPS ground. And USPS let me down again. They totally destroyed the VHS player, the VCR. And I went ahead and just refunded the money on that one. And then the next day, boom, 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 three returns back to back to back. All of them low priced items, all of them by buyers with very low feedback. And all three of them were more or less bogus returns. One of them was a remote control, $4. They said it didn't work. I know good and well it does work because I test those things. I get it back today. Sure enough, it works. So he did not get his original shipping back, which brings me to a point. Free returns doesn't mean you get your original shipping back. It only means it didn't cost you anything to ship it back to me and me give you the money you spent on the actual item back. Now, there are times when you are forced to return the original shipping, and that's an INAD, or they call it an SNAD now. Not an INAD anymore. It's an SNAD, significantly not as described. The next item that came in on a return was a pair of shoes, Olakai shoes, and men's size 10. Guy says they don't fit. I'm like, what? You don't know your shoe size? If you have measurements and or the size listed, you do not have to return the original shipping. The third one to come back is probably going to end up being an INAD type problem, but I think they said for the reason just don't like it or something. I don't remember. But it's a brand new sealed, factory sealed DVD of some kind. I don't remember. It's some out of print thing. It's like 15, 20 bucks all in, shipping and all. And it showed up with a crack in the case. Oh, well. It's down in California, should be up here in Oregon in the next day or two, and I'll refund that guy his money. But here's the problem when you get returns. If you are a eBay store, not just a regular eBay seller, but you have an eBay store. If you have open returns, your account, more or less, your items, they more or less get shadow banned. Even if you're paying for promotions, doesn't mean they won't still charge you the promoted ad rate if it does something does sell. But your views and your sales are going to tank as long as those returns are open. Until you get them taken care of, eBay's more or less going to shut you down. It's just how they do business. You will not get them to admit that straightforward, but we've all been there. We've all seen it. I've heard eBay representatives beat around the bush on the subject, but that's just the way it is. Now, if you have a really good collectible item, for instance, you guys know I sell a lot of watch stuff. So I got on there and I loaded up a bunch of Rolex parts movements, and my sales are actually up. I think it was 94%. Yeah, 93.4%. However, before the returns hit, I was up 175%, even with a return on a $3,000 Rolex return. Lower? I don't think so. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've had a store front on eBay for at least 3 years now, going on 4. And every time I have open returns, my views and my sales tank every single time. By the way, how are you, Kent? Every eBay seller I know of is when you have open returns, everyone I've ever talked to about the subject, every single time they tell me that their sales and their views tank. It's and I've actually I do things like I'll get on my wife's computer and do an eBay search for my items, and sure enough, they're like on page 37 or something. Now, not high end collectibles. If there's only 3 or 4 of them on eBay total, your item's going to show up, of course. But if you got a random pair of Nike shoes and you just listed them 5 minutes ago, and you go looking for them almost word for word in the title search, your item's not going to be on page 1. Yeah, I still have my ratings are still high. Let's see I'm still top rated. Well, now they're telling me I was late on shipping, but what happened was last week, USPS tracking was glitchy as hell. I put a watch tool in on time. Within an hour and a half of it selling, I went and dropped it off at the post office. 48 hours later, it says it's in Puerto Rico. It was not in Puerto Rico. I sold 2 pairs of shoes. Tracking didn't upload for 3 days. It uploaded and then immediately was marked as sold or delivered. So now my tracking and uploaded and on time went from 100% to 99.58%. My late shipment rate is 0.35%. I don't ship late. The Variety Flipper is in the house. How are you, brother? Transaction defect is still stuck at 0.14%. And that's baloney too. Yeah, that late shipment is tracking. Let's see what it says here. It says tracking indicates late delivery. So if USPS screws around and is late getting something delivered, my account gets dinged for it, which is it's bull. Let's call it what it is. But yeah, I truly believe if you have open returns, you're not going to do as well as if you don't have. And here's another thing: as soon as I take care of returns, my sales jump right back up. Brett's here. How are you? Now, generally speaking, if I get a return on an item, I go ahead and just refund the money. They either send it back to me or they don't, because I clear those things. I don't want them on my account, and my sales don't suffer when I do that. However, there are some buyers out there that they'll send a message or they'll do or say something screwy, and I'm like, nope, send it back. I'm not going to play games with them. But yeah, if somebody gets something and they're not happy with it, a remote control or a DVD or whatever, I'm more than happy to just write it off. Tell them, look, keep the item, don't send it back, throw it away, donate it, however you want to dispose of it, go ahead. Just don't send it back to me. Here's your money back. 9 times out of 10, that's the way I handle that. Because let's face it, most of the stuff I get at either the bins or a yard sale or something, I don't have a lot of money into it. But if I get a funny feeling about the seller, I'll make them send it back. I don't care. I think my biggest day in the last 4 or 5 days was 6 items going out. So I always have. That's about average for me is 5 to 6 packages a day. Sometimes more, sometimes less. But since I got those 3 returns, it started on Thursday, and that same day my sales tanked. I had a $29 day on Thursday. I had a That one won't even register. It's so small. $8.95 on Friday, $39 on Saturday, and $0 on Sunday. But since I took care of 2 out of the 3 returns today, I'm already over. I'm at $356, but most of that is one item. It was another one of the Rolex parts movements. But yeah, that's awesome, Kent. That's not normal for me or anybody else I've ever spoken to about returns. It's here. Let me share my screen. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Percent. Share screen. Share screen. Bam. But right here, you can see that's the day that the 3 came in, and boom, I tanked. Before that, I was doing good. I mean, the worst day I had was $100. As soon as I get returns, I got nothing. My sales tanked. And yeah, I was still listing every day. And like I said, today I had a $356 day already so far. But like again, most of that $275 of that was one sale. How many do I have listed? Well, back in January, I had well over 700. And here's one of the things about how many things you have listed. And this is how I personally feel. But the more I have listed, the more bad buys I made. Currently, I have 305 items listed. And let's see how many. I like to have a nearly 1-to-1 listed to sold ratio. That's how I normally roll. I've sold 279 things in the last 30 days, and I currently have 305 things. So it's nearly a 1-to-1 ratio of listed to sold. Hey, could be, Kent. Hey, that could be, but I like things that sell fast. I like quick flips. If I've had something for more than a year and it hasn't, generally in the spring, I'll do a purge. And I try to get things when I'm out buying and sourcing. I try to source things that have a really high sell-through ratio. I don't like the term sell-through rate because it's not actually a rate. It is actually a ratio. It's listed versus sold, listed to sold. So there's 100 listed and 100 sold. That is not 100% sell-through rate. That's a 1-to-1 listed to sold ratio. And that does not mean you have a 100% chance or even a 50% chance of selling your item. Now, it's still a good indication that your item will sell. But a lot of people use that term sell-through rate, and it's mathematically completely wrong. Yeah, it's not a percentage. It's a ratio. And even when they do express it as a percentage, it's still wrong. 100 listed to 100 sold doesn't mean 100%. It means 50% of what was listed in the last 90 days sold. So, and it's still not a rate. You can't say that's a 50% chance or 100% chance your item is going to sell. There's a whole bunch of factors that go into that. You can't look at that number and hit something square on the nail head. For instance, if you look up Panasonic PV -S or what was it? You look up just about any VCR and you look at listed versus sold. Well, problem is the exact same search will also bring up items that are for parts, and it'll also bring up remote controls. And you go look at the number of actual VCRs that are for sale versus sold. It takes you a little while longer to get a realistic picture. Right. It is a case by case instance. You list an iPhone, well, even there, is it locked? Is it unlocked? Is it factory reset? Which model is it? Yeah. And jeans, man, the world of jeans on the reselling side of things changes at the drop of a hat. What was super popular and everybody had to have in the fall, here it is spring. You can't give away a pair of jeans that were popular in the fall. And the market fluctuates and changes so rapidly on jeans that it's really tough. I still pick them up, but I almost all the clothing that I buy is almost exclusively from the bins. Skinny jeans are out right now. What they want is flared, not boot cut, flared, really big flares. Yeah, Janko. If you've got a pair of Jankos, you can bet those are going to sell. If you've got orange tab made in America 501s, those are going to sell. But if you get Miss Me capris, probably not going to sell. You got bootcut Q Baby Wranglers, probably not going to sell. The super low rise jeans, those are pretty much out too. Mom jeans or high rise jeans are selling better than low rise. But I still sell a few pair here and there. Yeah, yeah. I sell a lot of the denim I sell. It will go overseas. I remember when I was in the Navy, um, the things that would sell really that you could take out on the town and trade for almost anything were Levi's, Marlboros, and aviator glasses and ship's lighters, the Zippo lighters. But yeah, you walk around town with a backpack and 4 or 5 pair of jeans in it, you're gonna come back with some money in your pocket. I wish I had a bunch of those old lighters that we'd have ships pull alongside for repair, or we'd be several ships in port at the same time. I'd go buy 3 or 4 of their lighters from each one of them, and I'd use them to trade with out on town. You could pay a whole bar tab for a lighter. Well, not a whole bar tab. Depends on how heavy you were drinking that night. Oh, I did not go to the bins today. I went to my local Goodwill, just went in and poked around for a few minutes and come out. I have stuff from my last trip to the bins that I still haven't gotten listed. Got a lot of stuff to list. And quite honestly, I've been very, very busy over this past few days. I'm still getting my 5 to 10 listings a day, plus a few on Poshmark, but I could have done a lot more. But then again, I had a lot of household chores to do. I had a roof to fix. I had to go get my camper trailer and bring it home. I've got to replace the sink faucet, the kitchen sink faucet in there. We went to check on it earlier this spring, and when I walked in, I saw something laying on the floor, and it was my faucet. For some reason, it just broke off and fell on the floor. And the RV repair place, to get a new one in, just order one, is going to be over $200 just for the faucet. And I'm like, yeah, baloney. So I go to big box, just hardware stores, and I found very similar, actually better one for somewhere in the $100 to $125 range. Yeah, I've never had much problem with returns on clothing. I put all my measurements on there, and these days I'm getting away from selling clothing on eBay totally, putting it on Poshmark. If you put the measurements on Poshmark and you take a picture of the sizing tag, they can't return it for not fitting. Kent, hit me up on Instagram. I've probably got 4 or 5 of them laying around here. I'll just box one of them up and send it to you. I've probably got 1 or 2 in the truck. Got 4 or 5 on each of my benches. I've gotten down to I have like 2 loops that I use, and the rest of them just kind of got accumulated over the years. Goodwill Sheets last week. Huh. Let me see something here. Where is messages? Huh. Hmm. Something I don't think I ever got that message. I mean, there's something going on here. Where are my other messages? Give me a second here, man. This Instagram is. Oh, are we following each other? Ah, there we go. I don't know how I missed this. Cool. There we go, man. I'm sorry. I don't know how I missed that. There we go. Yeah, man. Send me your address and I'll find a loop. Tell me what kind of loop you're looking for because 5X, 7X, 10X. I don't think I have a 20 or a 30 available right now, though. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got a decent loop I can send you. Yeah, that's brand new travel trailer. And I got like several little things that I got to do for maintenance on it, though. Piece of the trim has a little plastic half dome insert. And somehow in storage, whether it's heat, cold, or both, one end of it actually grew and bulged out and cracked. So I got to find some of that stuff and replace 20 feet of it. And then the front shield just behind the tongue, they put 3 screws all the way across the bottom and think that and it flaps in the wind. And so I got to get some waterproof screws of some kind and put a few more across the bottom of it. And all that flapping, the caulking on either side of it has to be taken out, cleaned, and recaulked. But those damn things are expensive and they're a pain in the neck for the maintenance. But it's fairly nice. And the wife, she doesn't camp the way I do. I take a tarp and a blanket and I'm good. Yeah. Well, I bought a brand. We started out buying a refurbished one. Somebody refurbished it themselves, and they put all new floors in. They did a great job, but the materials they used were so stinking heavy. My truck could pull it, but my brakes couldn't stop it. And trust me, when you live in the mountains, you really want to be able to stop. Yeah, the tiny little loops, I never really liked them. My 20 and 30 powers were real tiny like that. And I never could stand those things. I'll tell you something. Let me see if I'll share another thing. Let me see if I've got Amazon pulled up somewhere. There is a microscope that you can get that's USB. You plug it into your computer. It got a little download app thing for running it. Let me see if I can find it. And then I'll share it with you guys. Let's see. Make sure I'm on the right page here. Well, not there. Terms and orders. Let's see if it's here. No, not there either. Ah, shoot. Here, I'll show it to you. I don't know if I showed you guys this thing last week or not, but it's this little thing. And it does a really good job. I know that it hasn't been that long since I bought it, but it's I know that thing's supposed to be on should be on my buy it again list. Hey, yay, I got a message from somebody on eBay. I got a pair of fairly rare tennis shoes, basketball shoes. People keep asking me stupid questions about it and wanting more pictures. And they ask me 100 different questions, and they ask me if I'll take less than half of what I got it listed for. It's a laser. Y'all, I cannot find this stupid microscope. It's got stuff I bought over a year ago still on there, but something I bought last fall is not there. Huh. There it is. There it is. And I'll put oh no, I can't put the link because it's 400 miles long. Hey, Kristen, how are you? Somehow or another, we got off on the subject of magnification using a jeweler's loupe. And it's got to the point where I use this thing a lot. It's my little microscope that I can plug into my computer. Hey, I'll copy and paste the title of this thing. Whoa. So you guys can look it up that way. I can't post the link because I can try. Let's see if it'll let me. Hey, I think it worked. Did that come up as a live link, or is it just oh. Yeah, there we go. I think it is. Yes, it did work. I'm gonna tell you what, that thing there, well, it's very, very useful. I intend on using it for some of my watch parts that will need to be better pictures taken. Like right now, I have a complete balance for a lady's Rolex listed, and I can't get a decent enough picture with my iPhone. So I'm gonna put it under that microscope and take a picture of it, and then download that picture to the listing. Cool. And it's not an affiliate link or anything. I don't know how to set any of that mess up. I'll just share you guys. If there's something I use that I get off eBay or Amazon or anything like that, I'll just give you guys the link. I don't make nothing off of it. I had, just before the show, had one of those weird coincidences happen. And this happens to me quite a bit. Last week we were talking about the Rolex that eBay authentication made a mistake on and sent it back to me. Well, I relisted it, changed the wording, made sure to check the customized box that's in the additional item specifics, not the required item specifics. You can't tell by the way my face looks. You know how I think about that. Anywho, I changed it all up, put it up, and it's had a little traffic. I raised the price on it. Well, today I get a offer on it for right at the same money that I sold it for the first time, and I countered for at 3,000. And then they sent me a question: is it 26 millimeter or 31 millimeter? It's 26 millimeter. Crickets. A minute goes by, and boom, I get asked if I would consider a $4,000 offer for it on Poshmark. I'm like, hell yeah, I would. Actually, I said just absolutely. But and that's how I get in trouble when I have something listed twice. Or that's what scares me the most is I'll be talking to somebody on both, and before I can take it off one, it sells on both. Green Bay won the bid to host the NFL draft. In all my years, I have never watched the draft. I think I've been present at somebody's house when they were watching. I'm like, man, this is boring. Ooh. Yeah, I've had to move my eBay stuff a couple of times, and it's not fun, but it is an opportunity. You can reorganize, you can put SKU numbers on stuff, and you can find stuff that, for whatever reason, is no longer listed. All right, Kent. Now, is that a D-Link Jubilee or an oval link? Because if it's a D-Link, there's people out there that can rebuild those a lot cheaper than you can replace it. Hey, Chrissy, how are you? Happy Monday to you. This past week or so, I have been terrible at keeping up with people on social media. I've just been too busy. Yeah. Yeah, Kent, they can get expensive. Even a used one is expensive. But like I said, somewhere I've got the name and telephone number and address of a guy. He's special. That's all he does is rebuild Rolex bracelets. But he won't touch the oval links, just the D links. He takes them apart, puts all new pins in them, and the gold links, if they're wore out or stretched, he can do something about those. All right, Kent. Yeah. Just in the next day or two, hit me up and I'll talk to you about that stuff. I really need to find that guy's name and address myself. I knew him from Facebook a few years back, and I shut Facebook down. Just that platform just turned out into a place I just don't want to be anymore, so I shut it down. Little Miss Q, I saw you pop in earlier, and I'm sorry I got sidetracked, didn't say hello. Yeah, I did. I couldn't handle it anymore. And my account still exists. And once every 3 to 6 months or so, I'll pop in there, poke around a little bit, and then pop right back out and never go back. Awesome. Be very careful replacing the battery in a swatch. It has a little cover on the back that you can use a nickel to open, but be very careful. The plastic around the outside rim of that opening can get very fragile, and it's very easy to break. In fact, you probably should take it to a jeweler and have them put a battery in it for you. Just remind them to be extra careful. And if they turn around and hand it to somebody who looks like a high school student, ask for it back. Oh, there you go. Awesome. You have a swatch store? Kristen, listen to me very carefully. Go back to your swatch store and ask them if they have any of the moon swatches. They're very expensive, but they sell online super fast and you can make a profit. I think they're somewhere in the $300 new, but they sell on average for $500 a piece. Yeah, the Moon Swatch. They're a collaboration between Swatch and Omega, which is a stupid thing to say because Swatch owns Omega. Anywho, it's a collaboration between the Swatch watch brand and the Omega watch brand, and they remade the Omega Moon watch in a Swatch version, and they've got 9 different ones. They got the sun, and then all 8 of the planets, or 9 of the planets. How many planets do we have anymore? Pluto keeps getting dropped off and picked back up, so I think there may actually be 10 of them. Oh shoot! Yeah, that Moon Swatch. It's a good looking watch, but it's still a Swatch. But if you can, they don't. You can only buy them directly from Swatch in one of their stores. I've been trying ever since they released them to order one online, and they never have one online. Yeah, Ken, I saw that where they've got the upgraded second hand on one. But there's a couple of them I like. Of course, the Moon one is good, and there's a couple of other ones. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Mercury's a good looking one. The Neptune one, is that the one that's Tiffany blue? Because the rumor going around is the one that is Tiffany blue. I'm pretty sure it's Neptune. They made it Tiffany blue as a direct thumb in the face of Tiffany and Patek and Rolex. Because at the same time this was happening, Patek had announced they were not going to make any more of the Patek 5711 Nautilus watch. So everybody went and bought them out. There are none left. And as soon as they sold them all out, they released the exact same watch through Tiffany with a Tiffany dial on it. Dark blue was canceled. Yeah. There's one of them that's let's see. I'll just pull it. See if I can find the. There we go. The bioceramic moon swatches. And I guess I'll share that one too. No. Remove. Stop screen. Present. Share screen. Share screen. There we go. For those of you wondering what we're talking about these things. So yeah, I'm pretty sure there's the. So they're a quartz-based or battery-operated chronograph made in the style of the old Omega Speedmaster watches from the 60s. And there's the one that's most closely resembles the one from the 60s. And bioceramic just means plastic that's been infused with some powdered ceramic or something. It's ridiculous. Okay, there's Venus. It's pink. Earth is blue. There's the mission to the moon again. Mars. Jupiter's a pretty good looking one. Saturn is a good looking one. I like how in the middle, at the seconds bit at the bottom at 6 o'clock, they made that look like the rings of Saturn. Uranus. That's what it was, and that's what makes it even funnier. This watch is actually Tiffany blue, and it's for the planet Uranus. But this watch is the rumor is, it's been no official word, but the rumor and the general consensus is this is a direct thumb in the direction of Tiffany. All right, we'll look at the rest of them real quick. There's the Neptune. The Neptune was the dark blue, right? Toward the mission. Let's see. Yeah, you have to go to the stores to buy them. They're always sold out. Space Force approved. Yeah, that's funny. There's the one that I really like is the Pluto one. That kind of creamy ivory color with that burgundy red. Just a good looking watch. Now, if Omega would release a Speedmaster chronograph with that same color pattern, that would be awesome. Flat and rose gold. Yeah, but these watches, let's see, they used to have the price on them. $265 if memory serves, something like that. Well, let's see what they say here. That's the gold hand one with the little pink dot in it. Huh. I don't see the option to buy it. But it doesn't say it's not available. Oh well, it's been so long since I looked at this, but I've almost wanted to go down to. I think we have one of the Swatch stores in the San Francisco airport. I've almost wanted to take a flight down there just to buy one of those watches. Oh, that's what it is. Boutique only. That's why they don't even have a option for buying it there. Land Shark Picker is here tonight. How are you, man? It's good to see everybody showing up. Let's see what this message on these shoes are. They always ask me, what's the lowest you'll take? I'm like, you just send me your best offer and I'll consider it. I don't like playing that game in the messages. If they want to send an offer, send an offer. Yeah, he's offering too little. I have them listed for 275 or 285 or something. They're a large size shoe. I've got the only pair in that size. I think they're like a size 13 or 12. Anyway, I have the only pair, and historically they sell for 250 and up. Mine are in very, very good condition. I didn't do the super deep clean on them, but I'm not taking 200 for them. I got the only pair. I'm not coming down that far. I can't. I want to do that. I just tell them, look, send me your best offer. And of course, this guy has 51 feedback, so he's not a very well established. I'm not even going to answer the guy. I've spent too much time back and forth with him today. Delete. What I ought to do is block him. Now I got to go back and mark that question as answered, even though I didn't answer it. Mark as answered. The people who do this to me, they ask 50 questions. They want more pictures. They want this measurement, that measurement. I have yet, not one time ever, had one of those people click the buy it now and pay for an item. Never. All the years I've been doing this. Brett, pretty much every Patek Philippe in decent condition is an investment grade watch. So yeah, those people, I'll try to humor them, but I've never had one of those 50 questions people buy. Never. So yeah, Brett, any Patek Philippe, now you've got to be careful because you will see way more fake Patek Philippe's than you ever will genuine ones. Um, so if you run across a Patek Philippe, if they won't go to a reputable jeweler with you and have somebody look at it, pass on it. Yeah, Tina, and she won't. They will not buy. People who ask the weird questions, and a bunch of them, they never buy. They're online tire kickers. They have no intention to buy. They're wasting our time. It's I don't know why they do that. I guarantee you, these are the same people who get on YouTube videos and social media posts and troll. Now, I have had, if they ask a pertinent question, one or two, I've had plenty of those people buy. But when they every 5 minutes, bling, do they have this? Do they have that? Can you send me a picture of this? Those people never buy. Yeah, Tina, you get that. I get that same thing. Do not. I had a guy. He's asking me some questions about watch parts and stuff. Do I have this? That? So look, I've got a 35-year collection. I'm downsizing and getting ready to retire. He's like, oh, I'll come buy it all. I'm like, nope. I just, I'm like, no, I'm not quitting. I'm just downsizing a little bit and moving my operation from the public to home. I remember what it was. I was selling one of those Rolex parts movements, and he contacted me after the fact, wanted to know if I had the case and would I sell it to him. I was like, no, it's just a parts movement, buddy. I don't have, never had the case. That's when I explained to him I was just downsizing a little bit, and then he starts wanting my phone number and can I send him pictures? He'd buy me out. I'm like, no, I'm not selling out. Yeah, when they start saying they want me to do something other or outside the parameters of the listing, automatic no every single time. I don't play. The one that I hate the worst is, can you hold it until 3 weeks from now? No. Well, I'll have this much money on the 30th. Well, hopefully it'll still be here for you by then. I'll tell them that, but I'm really thinking, I hope this thing sells tomorrow to somebody else. I've actually had one of those people actually come back and pay. And that happened week before last, I think. He asked me if I could hold it, and I'm like, no, I can't. And it was on an offer. And he come back, well, if you can't take X, whatever it was nowhere near enough. Like, no, I can't take that. And so, well, I'll accept if you'll hold it for 5 days or 6 days or whatever it was. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. eBay manages all my payments, and they will automatically cancel the offer or cancel the order and red flag you for non-payment at 4 days. And then he's like, oh, so what you're saying is if I accept tomorrow, then I've got 4 days to pay for it and it'll put me in the window. I'm like, yeah, that's what I just said. And that's what he did. And I'm thinking there's no way in hell he's going to pay me. But he did. Brett, no, they never had the patent on the color. They had the patent on the name of the color. You cannot patent an actual color. You can make up a color and you can patent the recipe for that color and the name of that color, but the actual color itself, you can't patent that. It's kind of a gray area. You can't, if you can paint something Tiffany blue all day long, but you cannot officially call it Tiffany blue. Yeah. But it's like Rolex green. Well, I've got green stuff from Rolex from multiple different decades, and they're all different colors of green. And it's not just age. Yeah, everybody makes a baby blue dial. Quite honestly, I don't care for them. I do have a Tiffany dialed Rolex though, but it's not baby blue. It just says Tiffany & Co. on it. But yeah, and that's, that's you can think of the term Tiffany blue same as like Velcro. It's still hook and loop. You just can't call it Velcro. So you can have something that is Tiffany blue, but you can't call it Tiffany blue. Call it light blue, popular blue, whatever, baby blue, sky, whatever shade of blue you want to call it. You can call it that. You just can't call it Tiffany blue. Yeah, Corvette red, Ferrari red, Mario Andretti red. There's, if I remember right, I was talking to a paint guy, and he says there's like over 1,000 different names for red. That's funny. Tiffany blue boxes for scrap. Fill one of them full of old Tiffany mountings, Tiffany style solitaire mountings. The traditional solitaire mounting has been known as the Tiffany mount forever. And a few years back, Tiffany started suing people using that term, Tiffany mount or Tiffany style solitaire mount. You're not allowed to do that anymore. Hell, Tiffany used to be pretty much any halfway decent jeweler, especially if you were a Rolex authorized dealer. You could also be a Tiffany authorized dealer. And then all of a sudden they wanted to be exclusive, so they pulled their authorization from everybody. And the company I used to work for, they were at one time a Tiffany dealer. And the building that burnt down, oh, good God. I bet you there was $2 or $3 million worth of Tiffany stuff in that store when it burnt. That is, it's just a modern neon clock. It's nothing special. Quite honestly, I don't remember what it is. I need to put a battery in it. The neon is not actually neon, it's fluorescent. It's some kind of auto parts, something or another. The dial says Justice Brothers Car Care Products, whoever they are, if they even actually exist. I'm pretty sure that's something I found at the bins, and then I had to find a power cord for it. I do have a vintage backlit clock over here. That's the, let's see if I can, right there, that yellow triangle, or triangle, Jesus, rectangle. That is a Bosch spark plugs clock. Yeah, the Seth Thomas, the early stuff is really good. I have I don't remember if it's a Seth Thomas or well, I got a Seth Thomas mini mantle clock, just came in recently at the shop. And I don't know if my ship's clock is Seth Thomas or Chelsea. No, I have a World War One Navy ship's clock from Seth Thomas. I have a World War One Chelsea also. What remains of it is in a box. 3 years ago, we moved our public shop across the street from our old building, and that was my clock. So I packed it up in a box. I had it apart so I could clean it and service it. And I was just going to bring it home and do the service here. And when I got home, the box slipped out of my fingers. Parts went everywhere. I gathered what I could of them up, put them all back in the box, and then set the box aside. I haven't had the I haven't wanted to look and see if it's all there. Uh, yeah, my ship's clock doesn't have the sweep hand. Yeah, Patek Philippe show up quite often on Antique Roadshow. Yeah, when it comes to the Patek Philippe stuff, the Patek stuff, I like the old traditional stuff. This new, the Nautilus and all this new stuff, I don't care for it. Um, the Patek Philippe Nautilus, the 5711, and that entire line is the same. It was designed. The look of it was designed by the same guy who came out with the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak line and a couple of other lines. They're all based off the look of a porthole on a vintage ship. And one guy, he moved from company to company to company as a designer, and he designed those watches across. All he did was just tweak his own design a little bit for each company and made himself a bunch of money. And quite honestly, I don't like them. Yeah, AP. I have never seen an AP that I liked. Just I don't care for them. GG. GG doesn't ring a bell. I don't know who that is. Gerald Genta is my, yeah. That's a name I'm not familiar with. But I don't keep up with a lot of the super high end watches like the Jacobs and Co. Those things are ridiculous. Have you seen the Millionaire's Watch or the Billionaire's Watch? It takes. They just released a. They have their newest one that they have available right now. It hasn't sold yet, as far as I know. Is all canary diamonds. It took them 6 years to source the rough diamond stones and get them cut to make the watch. Yeah, the Richard Mille, you couldn't run fast enough to give me a bucket full of them. They are silly. I'd rather own a G-Shock or a Timex as I would a damn Richard Mille. But they're super popular. All the celebrities have to have one. Hey, Ping, how are you? Yeah, I moved to Mondays. Hublot is another one. You couldn't run fast enough to give me a damn Hublot watch. In the world of watchmaking, there's a lesson that the industry has to learn every single generation or so. And that is the KISS method of doing engineering and design. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS. The more complicated you make something, the easier it is to break and the more difficult it is to fix. The more simple you make something, the more reliable it'll be, the less likely it will break down. And in the event that it does break down, the easier it is to fix. Well crafted simplicity will outperform unneeded complication every single time. But about every generation or so, the watchmaking industry, they get into a war, all everybody against everybody who can make the most complicated piece of crap. And that's what it is too, crap. Traditional machinery, traditional watches will outperform and outlast those overcomplicated junk watches that are highly connected to fashion instead of function. Those things, they are a sinkhole of money that you will never climb back out of. And the KISS method of doing things works across the board on anything. Your business plan. You come up with a simple, rock solid working business plan, you're going to be a lot better off than somebody that's over here doing like 15 different spreadsheets and keep doing this and that. Keep it simple. Buy right, buy the right stuff, sell right. Take care of your customer. Keep it simple and you'll be okay. You go complicating your business, it's more difficult to operate your business. It's easier for your business to break down and more difficult for your business to recover when it does. Just focus on the simple stuff. These people that are these celebrities who are getting these super complicated, split chronograph, triple date, moon phase, blah, blah, blah. They don't even know how to operate those things. They have to go in to the dealer to get them wound and set. The vast majority of people who own chronograph watches don't even know how to use them. And really and truly, all it is 2 watches in one. You got a stopwatch and a regular watch. And most people run the stopwatch function 24/7, and it destroys their watch. I love minute repeaters if they're jeweled through the hammers and they haven't been mutilated by tinkerers. The whole idea that Breguet came out with with the minute repeaters was basically 2 groups of people, politicians and preachers. Most of the places where these people would speak, there was no clock, and it was considered rude to pull your watch out to see what time it is. But with a minute repeater, for those of you that don't know what they are, they're a watch that has a chiming system in them. It has a little slide on the side. You pull it, and it'll start chiming. It'll there's minute repeaters, quarter repeat. Anyway, there's a system of chimes that if you count the chimes as you hear them, it'll tell you the time of the day. So if you're being preached at and the preacher's running over, you just reach in your pocket, hit that slide, and ding, 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 ding. And everybody can hear it, but nobody knows where it's coming from. But yeah, that was the idea behind that's the whole reason that repeaters exist. Business meetings, politicians speaking, and most especially preachers. If they went over, if they were getting long-winded, these repeaters would start going off. I get one from time to time, and next time I get one in, guys, I'll save it until I show it to you. They're very awesome, and the chimes are these normally there are 2 little steel spring wires in the shape of a circle, and they'll be mounted to a tiny little block of iron. It has to be iron, not steel. And it'll have these 2 little hammers that just ding, 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 ding that hit the chime rods. Basically, that's what it means. Wrap it up. But it was also functional if for some reason you couldn't look at your watch, you could hit the slide on the watch, actuate the minute repeater function of the watch, and just listen to it, and it would tell you what the time was if it's dark. If you have bad eyesight, I guess. But the whole idea was to let people around you know what time it was for whatever reason. But yeah, speakers who were getting long-winded. That, and if they're made right, they sound beautiful. And the same kind of time frame, and the same guy is credited with making the repeater as the tourbillon. And the tourbillon is the part of a watch that you listen to it, and it's going tick, 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 tick. That's a little fork in there bouncing back and forth on the teeth of a wheel. The ticking you're hearing is your watch actually stopping in a regular fashion. And there's a wheel in there that controls that fork, and that wheel has a spring on it. Well, that spring is traditionally very sensitive to gravity. So a tourbillon, they took this entire gizmo and set it inside of a cage that it acts basically like a gimbal. so that the effects of gravity don't affect the timekeeping ability of your watch. Kent, not really. There's a watchmaker who makes tourbillons from scratch. He's a elderly German fellow by the name of Stephen Fallow, but he hasn't been very active over the last 2 or 3 years. There's another guy who's a more of a clockmaker than a watchmaker. Uh, I think his channel is Click It or Clickbait, Click Spring maybe. And then there's a watch dealer, a gray market dealer that I watch. Just something about him I find him amusing. His name is Nico. Brett, are you talking about the tourbillons or the minute repeaters? Nico Leonard, yeah, he's he's kind of funny. He's a loud, blowhard guy, but he's not quite mean spirited. It's not too far from being mean spirited, but I enjoy him. He's real quick to call BS on somebody. He is nuts, but he does know his business. He pissed Cardi B off, and the guy who sold her iced out watch. God tier, yeah, yeah. He loves the God tier Casio G Shocks. Occasionally, I'll watch the guy Roman something or another. I don't remember his channel name, but he doesn't control it, or well, he controls it. He owns it, but he's got people that does everything for him. But I watch him just to see what he comes up with. He comes up with some pretty rare and unique watches. Yeah, Roman Sharif or Sheriff Sharf, whatever his name is. But that's a guy who really has his finger on the pulse of the high end watch world. Yeah. Yeah, the KISS method of doing things is something I learned very early on, and it has served me well. Luxury Bazaar, that's it, Kent. I have got to finish setting up my watch repair bench here at the house. I've got a ton of watches I could work on. ISO 9000. Now, Brett, I am not familiar with that. Cool. Let's see. There's a guy there in New York that does business a lot. Benny. Uh, yeah, Benny, I think is his name is. When I come up with vintage like bracelets or things like that, like the old riveted bracelets or the early oyster bracelets, he ends up buying a lot of those from me. But he beats me up every single time too. So eventually, I just have to stand firm and then just start denying all his offers till he pays me. There's one other guy that I used to watch, but I don't know, he just kind of got boring with the same hijinks and shenanigans. Yeah, 47th Street is not rough. It's just there's a group of characters working 47th Street up and down and the major shows. And those guys, a lot of the stuff you see on YouTube is shenanigans specifically for YouTube. Now, you and I could go up there and we could do business and come out ahead, but we couldn't do business the way they show it. Yes, they're messing with stuff that is not. I don't know what they're trying to do, but a lot of what they do on 47th Street that you see on YouTube is made for YouTube. Ken, I'll have to look that up. I, watchmaking videos to me is about like what reselling videos have gotten to. Now don't get me wrong, I still watch a lot of reselling videos, but yeah, I work on watches all day long. When I get home, I'm not watching watch repair videos. It's just I live that life every day, and same with reselling. I'm outsourcing, I'm testing, cleaning, taking pictures, making drafts, and listing and selling every day. So it's got to the point where I can't sit still long enough to watch somebody else doing reselling stuff. They're great people. I love every one of them, most of them anyway. And but I enjoy live shows, interacting with other people that are doing what we do. Ken, I don't have that much. But I do tend to go down rabbit holes when something sparks my interest. I'll go down a rabbit hole. Yeah, well, Kent, I actually took apart a combo player last week and more or less effected a repair on it and put it back together, and it worked. Pretty good thing too, because it's one of the more expensive ones. It's a DVD recorder. I couldn't get the DVD side to work consistently, so I had two identical ones actually. One of them flat out will not work, and the other one had a big dent in the top of the case. So I thought to myself, well, let me take it apart. If I can get it running right, I'll take the non-dented case top and put it on top of the one that is working. So anyway, I took the top off of it, and it turned out it was just full of dust bunnies. I turned my air compressor way down low, blew all that mess out, put a disc cleaning thing I have in it, and cleaned it up. Started working perfectly fine. So I took the case off the other one. Anyway, I got one up and running and looking decent and sold it almost immediately. But that's really and truly the extent of what I want to do for repair on AV equipment. I don't really get that many returns on them. In fact, the one that sent USPS 2 weeks ago that I ended up having to give a refund for is the first one in over a year. Now, I stopped selling stereo equipment because I kept getting returns on that kind of stuff. I won't sell receivers or I won't even look at the DVD or CD players, like the 5-disc CD players. Come here, baby. Come here. My puppy come to see me. And Sissy, come here, baby. Come here. Sissy. They don't like being in my shop. I'll go get her. And here's my little girl going, oh, you need a haircut. Hey, what's this? Say hi. She's like, nope, I want out of here. Let me down. Zoom, she's gone. But yeah, the stereo equipment, unless it's something I found a preamp, don't even remember the name on it. It wasn't Denon, it was something pretty high end that I sold for $700. So if I run across something like that, Of course, I'm going to get it, test it to the best of my ability, and sell it and hope for the best. For the most part, I don't mess with the stereo receivers. They're too heavy. I kept running out of the boxes, and they were expensive. And when I'd reorder them, they'd go on back order. So I don't mess with that mess anymore. But VCRs and combo units, I mess with those because I can test them. I can test them at the stores. Most of the time, I can do a simple test on them, see if they'll eat a tape or if the CD side will open and close. Then I can get them home and hook them to a TV. I've got a TV back here that I keep hooked up with RCA and HDMI cables, so I can test pretty much anything. And if it doesn't test out, I leave the stickers, price stickers on them, take them right back to the Goodwill and trade them in. But yeah, if they make a weird noise or they spit the tape out 3 times before it'll take and start playing, I don't mess with it. I take it back. If it doesn't test out really, really good, I don't list it. Deoxid. Is that anything like the circuit board cleaner, the non-residue quick clean stuff? Hey, Sal, how are you? Yo, it's good to be the bad guy. Well, yeah, yes, but I like selling VCRs and combo units because, like I said, my local Goodwills that I've got a 7-day return policy on them. In fact, I've got a combo unit over there right now I need to take back tomorrow. Everything works on it, but there's no sound coming through the VHS side of it. Yeah. I should probably buy a can or two of that, but really and truly, I just blow it out with compressed air. I turn the pressure down, way down on it, and I have a moisture collector on my compressor, so I'm not blowing wet or oily air into it. And then I'll put a head cleaner and a CDD or disc cleaner through it. If that doesn't do it, I button it all back up and take it back in. My wife wants to know if I'm almost done. But actually, folks, we have been on for well over an hour now. And my dogs have their walking harnesses on, so I think they're telling me it's time to take them for a walk. So we're going to wrap it up here tonight. Well, thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. Anyhow, we're going to wrap it up tonight. I appreciate all of you guys being here, and we'll see you again next Monday. And remember, between now and then, if you need something, I'm on Instagram. Send me a message, and I'll help you best I can. Till next week, y'all have a good one.